All right, here we go. The Hunting Land Man Podcast, episode 71. As always, this podcast is brought to you by Southern Ag Credit. They do a great job with our clients. I'm actually closing a deal with them tomorrow. Me and Caleb are buying a piece of property. So it doesn't matter if it's me and Caleb, me and any other partner, or my clients. They always take good care of us. And great shout out to Philip Morgan, their CEO, who passed away last week unexpectedly. He did a lot for us, and my hearts and my prayers go out to everybody involved, especially his family. But Southern Ag Credit, they take great care of us. Let's go fall food plots. All right, we're recording this on August 19th, so it's time to rock and roll. You know, typically for me and a lot of deer nuts, once July 4th happens, we're kind of in deer mode, and that's where we're at. I've been spraying. I've been, getting food plots ready for doves, and doing all kinds of different stuff. Let's just take this from the date of today. All right, we're looking at mid to late August right now. All right, so most of you out there, I'm going to assume, and speaking of food plots, we're talking about food plots in the South. I'll touch on the Midwest, but that's a very broad statement when you say food plots everywhere. So we're going to talk about the South, particularly right here in Mississippi and Louisiana, in the SEC down here where we do most of our hunting around the house. So, all right, it's the middle of August. Most of you right now have probably not bush hogged, and if you've done anything, you probably bush hogged. I have talked to some clients that have sprayed their food plots. All right, the time out is to prepare now. To get out there and I'm gonna bush hog, disc, and then plant the next day all in one. It's tough. It's not the best scenario. Depending on the method you want to do. So I'm doing a little bit of every method. Okay, what do you mean by that, Slade? What do you mean you're doing every method? I've got some food plots that I'm doing the old traditional way. I'm gonna disc 2 or 3 times, spread the seed and fertilizer, and then cover it with a drag. Now, speaking of covering, for fall food plots, especially if you're doing smaller seeds like most of this stuff is, I think in general most people do more harm than good covering. What do you mean by that, Slade? Well, let's say you have a cereal rice seed or a turnip seed or something. Or clover seed, that seed doesn't need to go on the ground very much. It really just need to have seed to soil contact. So when you run that drag over it or try to, run a roller over it or something like that, or a piece of chain, whatever you run over it, you may be doing more harm than good. I think the perfect scenario for me personally with a smaller seed like that is if I see rain coming tomorrow, I'm planting today and let God do as he intended and let the rain hit the seed and come up. To me, I've had great results doing that. Now, if you don't see, if you're time crunched, which a lot of my clients are, if you're time crunched on things, you say, look, I got to plant this weekend, there's not rain for a week and a half. Okay, yeah, I get the covering, not a bad idea. And there's some people that have, the ground prepared well and have good cultipackers or drags and do a great job at it. And if you got something that's working for you, don't listen to me and think you can do it better. If you got something that's working for you, by all means. My philosophy with fall food plots is the old KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Okay? What do you plant, Slade? Well, I'm not saying that there's not a bunch of different good seed products out there that work. For me personally, one of my sponsors is Backwoods Attractions. They do a great job with all their blends. I plant their more co-op blend during the fall, the Dixie 6. Well, Slade, why you plant that? It just works. It's simple, handles deer pressure good, and we kill a lot of big bucks over it. And I think the proof in the last couple of years with me and my family. What does Dixie 6 have in it? And I'll get this close to right. It's got cereal rye, bob oats, wheat. So that's your big 3. Kind of hard to beat those. It's got Australian winter peas, crimson clover, and I think it's got a little rape in there too. I think I got all 6. But anyway, it's just a little variety of things that do great. But the main thing is your big 3, your wheat, oats, and your wheat, oats, and cereal rye. If you want kind of a more premium blend, you can go with some of the blends that have a little bit more of that perennial clover. If you got your soil and ground in good shape, not a bad thing to do. Clover is about as good of a product as you can put on your place to, to make it good year round. Now, you got to be able to maintain that clover if it's from spraying it, clipping it, keeping the bugs out. So if you don't have time, or if you don't make time to do that during the spring and summer, clover may do you all right. But if you don't take care of it, it's not going to do that good. All right, so getting back to different methods. So let's say let's just go down the rabbit hole of each method. So let's say right now you're going to go the traditional method of disc and plant. All right, Slade, when do I need to plant? I know everybody wants us to be sitting in their stand October 1st and have a green food plot out there. I think you do more harm than good trying to do that. What I mean by that is I have so many people that September the 12th, they decide to plant their food plots. And it's just a tough time of year. We're usually dry. You still get armyworms out there. And if you look at the farmers, the people who have to make their living planting fall crops for their cattle, when do they plant it? Typically October 10th, October 15th, somewhere in there. I didn't say August. I said October 10th, October 15th, somewhere in there. And that's typically what I like to do. Typically, if I can have my ground ready, I'm sitting there watching the weather anytime after October 1st. I feel pretty good about it and have good success with that. Now, that's with the disking and planting method. So that means I'm going out there right now. I'm clipping. Some people go out and spray. I don't think it's required. I don't think it's required. If you go and clip your plots right now and then you go drop a disc in them September 20th, I don't think it's required that you go in and spray them. People think you do. In fact, I think you either go in and clip or spray. If you have an average height food plot, it ain't 7 foot tall right now. Let's say it's just 4 foot tall. You go in there and spray it. It's kind of the same as clipping it. It may get those grasses where you can burn them or something like that, which is also a good method. If you have a real thick weeds, you can go in there and spray it right now, come back a month from now, and then run a disc around it twice and physically burn it off. That does make your disking a lot better, and I've had some great success doing that. It's kind of each food plot each field has different ways that work best, and it's no way to know till you get out there. All right, so that's the traditional method. Okay, let me finish the traditional method. So we're going October the 7th. We got rain coming on the 9th. We're going to get seed in the ground. We're going to let the rain beat it in or cover it, whatever you decide to do. Typically, I put a little bit of dry fertilizer out with my seed. I get a co-op blend. I get the Dixie 6 mix in the co-op buggy. You can do it in your own spinner, behind your four-wheeler, behind your tractor. And then once that seed comes up, I've already hit it with the plot start, to get my pH right in my soil. And then I go and I hit it with either some, I was doing plot boost, which Deer Grow makes, but last year I did the Nitro Grow, which is nitrogen. Basically, once they got up, all the seeds got up, hit it with that Nitro Grow after a couple of weeks and really make it take off. That's a spray fertilizer. It goes real fast. You don't have to go to co-op and get your cart or stuff. You just fill it up with water, order it. Deer Grow, great product. If you have any trouble getting it or finding it, just contact me, hit me a DM or a text message or something, and I'll help you get it. But I do think, plain and simple, if you have not limed and done all the things you need to do as far as check your pH and stuff like that, back to what I said, keep it simple, stupid. Put the plot start in there, and it kind of fixes everything. It's a pretty easy product to use, and we've used it for about 4 years now, and it's worked real good. I've got a 55-gallon drum of it behind the house. I got to go do all my food plots right now to get ready for the fall. All right, so we went through the traditional disking method. All right, so let's start over. We're back to middle of late August. We're going to do kind of a no-till option. Okay, so I've been following Grant Woods and several other people, and I've been, Grant does his stuff up in Missouri, and I know he has clients all over the country, and I watch a lot of his stuff. But I'm also a realist in saying, okay, what works right here at the house where I'm doing all this stuff. So he has a crimper that he goes out and he crimps, and it basically, what a crimper is a big roller with little knives on it, and it cuts, it cuts a 3 foot piece of grass into 3 or 4 pieces during what he calls the dough stage, when it's basically seeded out and it's dying, which is basically right now. And then he comes over, spreads seed and fertilizer, and just runs some type of drag over something like that, or he plants with a planter. I've done both methods. They both work good. He's not a huge proponent of spraying. Does some, but not a huge proponent of spraying. And this gets a little bit more confusing because this is a little newer methods and things to do. But I'm gonna break it. We're gonna go back to keep it simple, stupid. All right, Slade. I want to try a field of no-till this year and see how it does compared to my other seed. Let me tell you what I've done personally. I got a 5-acre field in front of the house. This is my testing grounds, my proving grounds right here. I got a 5-acre field in front of the house, okay? I planted bachelor pad in it a couple years ago. It's in there right now, and it was beautiful, man. It was looking great. All right, so that was the last year I dissed that field. All right, that fall, basically call it September, I came in that bachelor pad and I took 2.5 acres of it and I dissed it under. Hit it 2 or 3 times with my disc, powdered it, made it look like a roping pin on a Friday night. The other half, all I did was top it, barely top it with my bush hog. Had my bush hog all the way up and barely topped it, kind of cleaned it a little bit, but still plenty of bachelor pad out there. So I never lost my bachelor pad food plot. It went all the way till the first frost. And then right beside it, I had disc ground. I came over the top, seed and fertilizer, Dixie 6. And of course, immediately the disc ground looked better because you can't see the ground as good on the no-till stuff. By the time we got to December, late November, December, and I planted that like right around the 1st of October, you couldn't tell the difference where I disc and not. Okay, so I had less tractor time because less disking. My soil was in better shape because I didn't disc that side. And I never lost summer food plot for my deer right there. I never went a couple of weeks where there wasn't any food on my place for the deer. So it works. Am I 100% sold exactly how to do it every time? No. But I'll say this about that 5-acre food plot. I'm not disking it this year. I'm going to go in here probably next week and top it. And then I'm going to come back, like I said, I do think you can get away with trying to plant a little earlier with the no-disc method. So if you want to try to plant a little earlier, I think you can do that. And let me tell you why. First of all, that thatch over the top is going to protect your moisture. Your seeds are going to germinate a little bit slower just because they got to come up through those weeds and stuff like that. It's protected a little bit more from the elements. And I think you can hold your moisture and comes up a little slower. I think it just, I think you can get away with planting a little bit earlier here in the South doing that. So back to what I said, let's keep it simple. If you want to try it this year, man, just real easy. Go spray your food plot right now. That gives us about 6 weeks until planting time. Whenever you see a rain coming, go spread your seed and fertilizer and then run your drag, a piece of chain link fence or run something over the top of it to kind of lay that summertime stuff down on top of it. Won't kill it, just lay it down. And if there's any good stuff out there, usually it just pops right back up. And I bet you end up having a really good food plot. Where is this really good? If you have a problem with erosion, or maybe you don't have a big disc that you can really break that soil and really break it down. Man, it's kind of the poor man's no-till drill. This works. Fall food plots, especially with like a Dixie 6 blend or another blend like that, is if you put it on the ground and you get rainfall, they come up. Make sure you put plenty of fertilizer, hit them with the Nitro Grow After, and make sure your soil's in good shape by either liming, doing your soil test, or if you're like me, you just end up putting the plot start down. So A lot of different ways to do it. Now, if you're one of the blessed few to have one of those awesome Great Plains drill or First Products drills or something like that, that's real simple, man. Go in right now, either spray or clip. And you can go in and spray right now, and then right before rain, you go in and drill, and you're going to have a beautiful food plot. I don't have one. I've used one. Sunshine has let me borrow one and used one, and I've had great success with it. I think it's a great product. And I may get them to bring one over here this year, so I do a little further. If I recommend anything on this podcast or to my clients or on any of my social media, you can bet I've tried it myself. I'm not in the business of spending time making a food plot and not trying to kill a bunch of deer over it. I mean, I'm not doing this to sell backwoods products or to sell land. I do it because this is what me and my family love to do during the fall. All my kids, Rafe is 4. He told me this morning when he's 5, he's shooting him a big buck. So we got to get ready for that. He said he will go hunting with me this year, but he won't shoot yet. But we may get him in there late season. We'll see. But Ace is hunting, Bentley's hunting, Lori's hunting. And I need a lot of deer in those food plots because, as y'all know, these kids and your wives and Slade like to see a lot of deer when you go hunting. Of course, it's great to see the big buck, but we like to see a lot of deer. We shoot a lot of does. We have fun with it. We try not to take it too serious. If you really want to know the truth, I was thinking just yesterday. Some of my funnest times of hunting wasn't hunting big bucks. It was smacking a bunch of does with bows with my buddies and cooking deer meat and stuff like that. So, there's nothing wrong with that. And when Rafe gets old enough where he can really bow hunt and stuff like that, I'm going to encourage a whole lot of that. Hey, Lan, let's go shoot us a doe. Let's see if we can get our tagged out this week on does and really try to turn him into a killer, as we talked about last episode. And how do you do that? You get reps by shooting a lot of deer. And how do you get to shoot a lot of deer? You got good food plots, you got good feeders, that sort of thing. Speaking of feeders on these food plots, so if you say, Slade, I don't want to risk it. I want to wait and plant when the farmers plant, because that's when Slade plants, and I'm going to plant October 10th, right before the rain that's going to be on the 12th or something like that. Well, most of y'all here in Southwest Mississippi got a feeder in your food plot anyway, so it's not like the deer aren't coming there. Now, something I did this year, I've got a deer I'm hunting right here, not too far from the house, and I planted some bachelor pad, 2 weeks ago, 10 days, probably 10 days ago, and yeah, I planted it in August, but we're getting plenty of rain, got really good rain on the last couple of days, and really I'm planting that because, and I did the disc method on that one, I planted it, covered it, looked good, and it's coming up good, and I'm planning on using that for a great October food plot. I got a feeder in there, got a Moultrie camera on it, they've been coming good. But what I'm going to do is right before rain in October, I'm going to go in and spread seed and fertilizer and put my Dixie 6 right over the top of that. So I'm never going to lose a food plot right there. Kind of right here on my testing grounds, I have a little bit of everything. So I got this 5-acre field that I'm not going to touch. I'm going to spread the Dixie 6, and the bachelor pad's already up in there. I got a fresh new bachelor pad field coming right there. I got a field that's disc to the dirt up there, dove field, that we'll dove hunt over in September, and then I will spread my Dixie 6 over the top of the wheat that's already there, when I plant the rest of my food plots. So I keep it pretty simple with my food plots. Everybody, I'll say it, everybody who, you hear, man, you don't want to plant ryegrass in your food plots. I'm going to have to disagree. Just let me give you my theory. Keep it simple. I can ride you within 5 miles of my house right now in a couple of months, whenever the farmers' ryegrass fields are beautiful and green. And guess what you're going to see out there? A bunch of deer. So if they come there, well, why don't they come to your food plots? I'm not saying there's not a better product for attracting deer and the health of deer, but they come to it. That's what I always said. Hey, if you want to just, Slade, what do I need to plant? That's just cheap, easy. Plant some cereal rye, not Gulf rye, cereal rye, wheat and oats, like it's in the Dixie 6, and it's hard to go wrong. Now, I like having like the crimson and stuff like that that's in there for the spring, because into about May you got a pretty food plot. Crimson clover is real easy. It does real good. So if you are going to do like a bachelor pad or some type of soybeans or whatever you're planting in your summer food plots, I think that's a great product to plant, because if you, let's say you plant it in May, well, that's the time the crimson clover is seeding out, going away anyway. So you're going to have food plot in, maximum amount of food plot in your food in your food plot for the time you have it. I wrote down a lot of stuff. I'm going to make sure I covered it. All right, if we're just talking about spray, if you just hit it heavy with Roundup, glyphosate, however you say that, you're going to pretty much kill everything. If you got a lot of broadleaf and stuff like that, you can throw some 2,4-D in there and really burn it down. But you don't have to get too crazy with it. I think people get intimidated by food plots because there's so many options out there and so many. But look, seriously, if you just keep it simple, do one of these methods, your fall food plots are going to look good. Don't go cheap on the fertilizer. Plant right before rain. Look, I don't care how good a fertilizer you put out. I don't know how good your dirt is. I don't care how good your fertilizer is, seed, whatever. If you don't get rainfall, you're not going to have a good food plot. I can't tell you how many people, I planted this and it didn't work, Slade. Well, okay. Well, did you get any rain? Man, we got a little sprinkle. That was about it. Didn't rain for 3 months. Whatever. Of course it didn't work. You got to be smart about it. Plant with the rain. And I know people don't have as much time to get their food plots planted as I may, because I can make my own schedule. But if you're just working, or if you're a weekend warrior and just working on the weekends to get your food plots planted, late is better than early, because we will get rain sometime in October historically. So at least your seed's not sitting there that long, getting picked up by birds, letting weeds come in there. So if you're a weekend warrior, I think it's even that much more important to plant your stuff in October. By the time rifle season gets here, your food plot's going to be up and good. And like I said, you probably got a feeder in your food plot anyway, so deer are never going to keep coming there as your food plot's getting up. And even if you got your food plots going good and you say, hey, I want to save a little money, keep that feeder going so it'll help with the browse pressure as your food plot's coming up. Something I want y'all to try this fall, if you've never done it, an exclusion cage. Literally just go get a little old piece of wire, make you a little cage, big around as a basketball hoop, maybe a little bit bigger than that, and put it out there and see what the browse pressure is. I bet most of you will be shocked of how much browse pressure is on your food plots, because look, the deer love those green food plots, and you get a group of 6-8 does and yearlings out there, they can absolutely murder a 1 acre food plot or half acre food plot overnight almost. So it's cool to see. And it also tell you if you need to maybe make bigger food plots or things like that. Maybe you don't have enough groceries. That's something on this 130 acres where my house is. You don't have to worry about if I have enough groceries. I've got 10, 13, I got about 15, 16 acres of food plot on this 130 acres. So we got lots of food plots on here. All right. I think I covered most of that. I did say I was going to touch on the Midwest. Now look, the Midwest is a broad term, but where we hunt in the Midwest in Missouri, we plant our fall food plots around the 1st of August. We've already planted them. We got a couple rains on them. We got deer coming to them already. I've been watching my cameras. They're coming up, and we should have some really good fall food plots. Now up there, I do the sweet greens, which is sugar beets, turnips, and radishes, and some rape in there, I believe too. But I have Ryan has some spots that he hunts where they absolutely love that product down here. I'm actually going to plant some of that this year just to see how my deer react to it at the house, because I've never planted a lot of that at the house. And I'm always playing, and I encourage you to if you have the acreage and if you have the time, and if you're a deer nut like me, try something. Try one of these different methods. Maybe you figure out a scenario where, wow, this worked great. Maybe you found out one better than me, and you can call me and say, Slade, next time try this. That's one thing. I'm not smarter than everybody listening to this podcast. I've been doing this a long time, but for the lack of a better word, I get a lot of reps in the batting cage because I represent so many clients over the years, and we literally talk. I'm talking to some of my clients every day. Hey, man, what'd you plant? What did you do good? They're sending me pictures. What do you think about this, Slade? I tried this. This worked good. And so it's me and everybody else that I talk to and communicate with to try to make the best educated decision for my food plots and for your food plots out there listening. All right, I figured I'd give y'all a real estate update. The market's rocking. Typically, our market really, August 15th, it usually starts increasing, and then September 1st, when you're watching college football dove season, it really goes up. But ever since the Monday after July 4th, we've been steadily creeping up heavier than normal. I think we're going to have a really big fall. The Fed has said they're going to drop interest rates 3 times this year. Well, what's that going to do to land prices? Well, you'll have higher demand for land because you got lower interest rates, so land prices are going to go up. So we've got some pretty good inventory right now, but literally it's going fast. We listed a giant one last week, Petite Meat Plantation. Shout out to my man Zeb. Everybody give a clap. Unbelievable real estate video. And that one got released on Wednesday, Zeb. Is that right? And as of Sunday, we have it under contract. So, and super excited. Had 3 showings lined up on it already after just a couple of days on the market. We had one was supposed to be today and yesterday. The clients canceled because they found out it was a good contract on it, and we're supposed to close on it very soon. So that's super exciting, and it kind of it's always good learning anytime you sell something. Okay, so what we learned in this is good marketing, good places sell fast. They don't always, but a lot of times they do. Something else, this buyer that bought this property, I have sent him over 230 emails about property over the past about 3 years. And when he saw the one he liked, he spoke up. Well, Slade, I want to be on that list. I want you to send me 230 emails. Text me, email me, give me a name, email address, and what you're looking for, and you will get on my email list. So when these new good properties come on the market that you're looking for, you will be the first person to get them and have an opportunity at them. How many people call me and say, God, dog, Slade, that one went fast. I wish I'd have seen it sooner. Well, how do you see it sooner? Pay attention to my email list, get on my email list, and you can be like this guy who's buying his dream property right now in Petite Meat Plantation. I think we're going to have a big fall. I really do. Zeb will have this podcast out by the end of the week, so you'll be listening to it August 22nd or so. And if you've talked to me before about land, call me again and say, hey, Slade, just a reminder, I'm looking for 80 acres. Here's my budget. Here's where I want to be. Because, look, I'm only human. I talk to literally 100 people almost every day, and the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So if you stay in my ear, Slade, what do you think about this? Send me links to my listings, other people's listings. What do you think about this? If you speak up, it helps me stay in better contact with you. And that way, if you call me on a Wednesday and you said, this is what I'm looking for, and then another agent or something missing a property about to come on the market, boom, light goes off. I know my guy John over here, he's looking for that 80 acres. Let me call him. We'll get him on it fast. But I can't remember what everybody said to me 6 months ago, so squeaky wheel gets the grease. Me and Zeb are going to jump off of here. We're going to do a land news next. We've been doing those. If you haven't been listening to those, they're on our YouTube. Basically, we're going through the market. We're picking out good listings that are my listings, other people's listings, and we're bringing them to you on YouTube, kind of giving you my Sports Center report of what I think about these properties. Take it or leave it. It's you may like some of these properties, you may not, but it's going to be my opinion of them. I just think properties that are interesting we're going to talk about. So y'all have a blessed day. This was episode 71, Fall Food Plots. I recommend the Backwoods and the Deer Grow products. It works well for me. There's a lot of products that work really well. If my clients say, Slade, I use this and it worked really good, I do not tell them, well, go try the Backwoods. I say, hey, if it's working well for you, keep doing it. But if you're looking for a product to try out there, I like all the Backwoods products. They have a bunch of different blends. They just changed a bunch of them up. I don't know all the names as good as I should. But They make good products. I've had great success with them and the Deer Grow products, and you should try them too. Y'all have a blessed day. We're going to get on land news right now.